Okay, well, I'll call the meeting to order at 7:01. And has everybody had the opportunity to review the minutes from June 1st and June 2nd public hearings?
Yes.
And our select board meeting on June 2nd?
Yes.
Okay, I move we approve these, I move we approve these minutes as written.
Second it.
All in favor? And I move we review warrant number, we approve warrant number 29 and payroll warrants from June 8th and June 15th.
Second it.
All in favor?
And can I give you a copy of the explanation of the refunds?
Yes, yes, yes. We have given refunds for this in the past, and it only makes sense. I think that going forward, when we're, assuming we continue with our usual bulky waste pile up, that people should be advised when they buy a sticker not to put it on until the day of the pickup.
Well, they didn't, but one person bought the wrong size.
Right, well,
tires.
one person bought the wrong size tires, but in the past, we have also made a refund to people who put,
Should I have them return the stickers? That way they don't use them next year?
I guess if they're not going to, if they didn't put them on some other tires,
Excuse me, could Leanne sit nearer to the microphone so we can hear what she says?
Yeah. Say something, say testing 1, 2, 3 or something, see if it's a little better.
Should we return the stickers that they purchased if they're getting a refund?
Can you hear now?
Okay.
I think it should return.
Yes, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your input. Assuming that they didn't purchase for a larger tire and then use the same sticker on a smaller tire. They haven't used the
She
tire.
purchased the larger tire sticker.
Okay,
And come to find out she had smaller size tires.
but did she put the stickers on and get rid of those tires? The smaller size tires?
Right,
And so what we're going to refund her is the difference in price.
right. But the other one, she.
She put something on some
her
Freon things.
item before she-
This is what happened in the past is somebody put a sticker on a fridge and then somebody came and took the fridge. Frankly, if people want to come and take stuff before.
It's not
bulky
our
trash,
problem.
well, no, it's our benefit because we're not paying to tip them. So that's my take on it anyway. So, but I think that maybe in the future, people who buy stickers for Freon containing items should wait until that day to slap the sticker on it, rather than stick it on in advance, because if the sticker goes along with the Freon containing item, they just paid somebody to lug their stuff off.
If the goal was to get rid of the refrigerator, they got that goal.
Well, true enough, but if they paid $15 for a sticker,
Right.
I can understand why they wanted to refund. In any case, I do understand it with subject, we're still on warrants, and I do understand that. You understand about that, right?
What I don't understand is, because she wants $30 back because someone took the refrigerator.
Or,
They're taking the refrigerator anyways. What makes the difference? Who takes it, actually, or someone else? She got rid of it. Right?
well, this is true.
They got rid of the refrigerator.
In theory, the $15 goes to reimburse for Freon removal. At least that was my understanding. On the other hand, this maybe this is something we need to look into a little bit more closely. Going forward.
The Freon.
That was my understanding. Yes,
I don't think you should refund anything. I mean, you buy the sticker
They can usually,
or whatever.
Well, unless they put it on some,
They take
unless
precedence
somebody put it on there and it disappeared. You know, I mean, I hear what you're saying.
I mean, that's not the
you
town.
know.
That's right, it ain't our
There is
problem.
some precedent for having done that.
Someone
But-
takes it, they take it.
Do you want to re-vote on this?
What do you think, Kathy?
Really, on any of this, how do we prove? Now, like on the second one, she bought 5 stickers for 17-inch tires, but found out they were 15-inch. How can we prove whether they were 17-inch or 15-inch
We have no.
to
way.
give her $20 back?
Just, you know, the only thing I'd have to say on that is that Verna Cooper is not somebody I would question as dishonest. But then again, you know, I mean, salt for the goose is salt for the gander. You don't always, you can't always know.
Again. The stickers are what? $2?
15-inch tires at $2, 16 and up, well, 16 to whatever the next,
20.
is it 20 or $6 each?
It just makes it more confusing for.
Well said.
What's that?
They purchase what they purchase, I can't imagine. You should go home and check and come back.
Maybe look at it next year and say, no refunds.
You know, I think going forward,
Yeah.
that might be a good plan. You know, like I said, we do have precedent because somebody put out their fridge last year. We did refund her, her money. Leanne, would you put this on the agenda for our next meeting that we discuss it?
Next regular meeting.
Yeah, next regular, not down meeting. Next regular meeting so that we can discuss this, how we want to deal with this going forward.
Well, as far as that refrigerator goes, I mean, she got rid of it.
Well, you know, I think we do need to discuss this further because, you know, this is the price structure around the Freon containing stuff is based on what we used to charge when we had a transfer station. I used to run the transfer station and I had to make sure that people, you know, had their stickers if the fridge contained Freon, which most of them did, although some people would cut them, but you know, we don't want to have people just cut them open and call it good either. That just doesn't cut the mustard. So, but you know, we are using a different system now, so I think we just need to go back and look at this. Yeah, I know we want more stuff on our plate like a hole in the head, but that's just the nature of the job. Are we ready to move on?
So that stays.
I would say it stays for now, but that we will discuss it and you know, come up with a real. I don't know, we will look at our policy on this and come up with a new solution. Or confirm the old solution, depending on what we decide when we discuss it, right? We had RSU 10 report, other than the fact that Hartford did in fact pass the school budget.
Yes, I'm here. Though they did have a meeting Monday night, but they immediately went into executive session for whatever reason, which probably is something to do with personnel
Almost
And-
always.
and nothing. I have no idea.
Okay,
And they never came back on. It said that if if the executive session resulting in them needing to take a vote, they would come back on, but I waited an hour and they never did. I have no idea what it was about, but normally, as with you folks, executive session quite often involves something to do with personnel, and that
Almost
would be my
always.
guess.
Almost.
And that's all there was to it.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Do you know, I understand that Hartford did approve the new school building. I also understand that Sumner and Buckfield did not. The meeting Kathy and I went to where they explained about the school building and that virtually all the costs were paid. There was something like $12,000 that wasn't paid, that was going to be in permitting fees. And Deb Alden had applied for a grant that was going to cover the permitting fees, which is to say you had to vote in this 3.5 million or whatever it was, but it wasn't coming out of any municipal budgets. So what I want to know is, do you know if that was approved, that $12,000 grant?
Oh, no, and I don't think that was brought up in Monday night's meeting.
Okay, great. Well, that's.
Deb Alden did make a couple of comments at the beginning, but I don't think it touched on that. If it did, my memory's so bad, but I don't think it did. I almost think that there was something said that it was, that they did get grants for it, but I'm not sure.
Well,
But that's a little, that's a
Well, thanks for
raindrop. That's a raindrop in a hurricane compared to the total amount anyway. So
Of course it is, but nonetheless, I just wondering how that went. Okay, thank you so much.
I have a question for you.
Regarding the
I saw the votes for Hartford, of course. I also saw on Facebook the votes for Buckfield,
Yes,
which you're correct, as what you stated. Has anybody seen the votes from Sumner?
no, well, I haven't. I don't know. Actually, Jerry Wiley approached me at Tilton's yesterday and told me that Buckfield and Sumner both voted the building down.
Really?
And I guess they voted the school budget down, or at least Sumner voted the school budget down. They might have both.
No, I believe
overall.
I believe Buckfield approved that.
Yeah, it might have been just Sumner.
The only thing they didn't approve was the new school, which I think is, I realize that people in Buckfield especially, and perhaps in Hartford here, really want to see us go back to 139 and so forth. But when you've got a multi-million dollar school that's available for the state to pay for,
Yeah,
and when our district is one of only 3 that acquired that, I think it's too bad for people that people rejected it, but that's just my opinion.
Richard, I don't know that you were at that meeting either, but there was a school board hearing regarding this subject, and there may have been half a dozen people that were on the school board or school employees. I mean, if that. So, it may have been lack of information that made people vote the way they did, but it's really neither here nor there at this point.
Well, yes, I know Christine Mumar was asking about that back a couple of 3 months ago. But I thought when all the information, including the annual newspaper about the budget came out, I thought it was completely explained in there.
Well, sure, but say you are presuming that people actually had the attention span or the bandwidth to have taken the time to read that and understand it. And that
I got one in the mail. Everybody else was supposed to. That's in the district.
Richard, for God's sake, everybody did. That doesn't mean that they actually read it and paid attention. They may have started the fire with it.
Well, all I'm saying is that I think it's a shame for the general area not to take advantage of the state paying that kind of money for a new school complex. Sure
enough. Well, thanks for that. Okay, road report. We have two items on road report. One is, I'm sure you're aware of this, Bim, because you're the one who actually called me up to mention Pinewood Drive flushing itself out onto the road again. And every time we have a significant storm, that driveway, road, whatever you want to call it, basically washes right across the road and straight into the lake. The erosion is tremendous. Oh, yeah. No, of course it was. Of course it was, and it's been a serious issue. I have a letter here from April 30th, 2007, from at the time Code Officer John Plumley, who said, due to the storm of April 15th and April 17th, Pinewood Drive is washed into Canton Lake. Approximately 50 yards of gravel from your road is currently in the lake. I brought this issue to the selectmen and they've ordered me to arrange an engineer to design the road up as far as the culvert, blah, blah, blah. You know, the biggest issue is damage to the lake. And it's still going on. I don't know what ever became of this supposed engineer who is supposedly going to do something about that, but you know, there's not a single water bar or turnout or ditches or anything on that road. The water went straight down the middle of the road. Now, was it just last year? No, it has to have been a couple of years ago because there wasn't a pandemic going on at the time, but we did a watershed survey where we walked around. I was assigned with one group and we walked around Pine Shores, but people went around all the properties around the lake. And one of the things that came of that watershed survey was that there was state money available as matching grant for homeowners. I don't know if that is still available. Yes.
There is a grant available right now for Canton Lake. Oh, I think it's
But
50% match for individuals.
for individuals, there you go. So I wasn't sure if that was still ongoing or not, but if that's the case, you know, I guess I'd like to, you know, I don't know if there ever actually was an engineering report because there's nothing attached to this. There is something from Colin Clark from 07. I'm saying that the material that's washed into the lake can be removed by a permit by rule for restoration of natural areas attached. Blah, 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 time is of the essence. So, you know, I would have to say that that never happened in any case. So no gravel was actually removed, but plenty of gravel has gone into the lake since then. Because as far as I can tell, they just put a new load of gravel in every now and again when it starts to wash out enough, and then they grade it up with their little tractor and there it goes again. Yes. So what would the pleasure of the select board be in a case like this? And I did ask Scott Mills to go up and take a look and take some pictures, and he did.
Jeff Stearns would be a good one to look into the project and possibly see what's available in grants, but the landowners are gonna have to get kind of motivated to want to work with him.
Well,
to
and
solve the problem.
well, they'd have to get motivated, and the way I look at it, they'd have to, you know, they probably need to hear from the select board. And, you know, sooner is probably better than that. Okay.
I'm not sure how many people live up in there, but I mean, amongst them, they ought to at least work with Jeff, and he's pretty up on what's available for grants.
Let's
and he can
get
work
some
with them to get
pictures of that
some
most
their
recent.
things.
You can see across the street where it's just washed straight down into the, and it's chipping away at the, of course, the state road. But it does. I've seen it actually.
Now, where's this?
Literally, Pinewood Drive. You remember where Doug in November used to have the chalet up there? Now it's some other houses built up there, right across the street. And, over here would be the old boat launch.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and
Yeah,
then there's a
okay.
beach over here.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The Pompo's places.
Yes, just the side of the, just that side of the.
Oh, yeah,
boat.
okay, yeah.
Yes. So I don't know if you want to look at those pics. You can see that, look at how that has been washing down, and that's been going on for, well, 2007, I mean, decades now. Ages, and here we are all supposed to be concerned about the lake, but this is going on. So I guess, what Scott said was if the town has adopted the road, then BIM can fix it. But of course, we know that he hasn't. And I said, no, it's not a town road. And you'd have to locate the homeowners association responsible. Well, I don't believe there is a homeowners association. People subdivide in such a way that there's no real subdivision plan in a case like that. It's like, one lot gets sold one year and then another lot another year and so on. If you do it every 5 years, it's not a subdivision. And so then you have more or less a subdivision, but there's no homeowners association or anything. There's just maybe one person that is minding the road and everybody else is using it. But
I'm not sure what you're gonna do there. I mean, it's gonna have to be the landowners that need to make an
yes,
effort to get the
however,
comment.
yes, but so at some point, they need to be made to do so because they're obviously not gonna do it it's cheaper for them to just put in another load of gravel and keep driving on it. But if it's going straight into our lake, what's that doing for
Well, if
us?
it was a longer up in there, doing some longer, all the dust would be here all over the place.
There you go. So I guess,
Oh, yeah. Maybe it's a state's problem.
well, it's a state road that's getting trashed. But that doesn't necessarily mean so. Because you can see that the edge of the road in that picture I just showed you, the edge of the road is getting eroded in pretty good shape. They're right by the washout. So
What about on
maybe
the
it's a state
front
problem.
side?
Hmm?
What about on the front side there where they got the water bar?
They're replacing that culvert, remember? They're gonna close the road this.
Yep. This summer, ain't it?
What are you talking about? The
Well,
water?
I don't know what she's talking about.
On the
water
front
bar.
side of the lake where they go swimming.
Oh, the
What does that
water,
have to do with-
I don't think that changes much. The only time that shows is when the lake is down.
And what does that got to do with the price of potatoes
So I
on
think
top
it
of
goes-
that?
What's that?
What does that got to do with the price of potatoes?
Nothing.
We're talking
I'm just
about the other
saying
side
that's-
of the
I
lake
think
here.
the state's gonna do something there.
Yeah, right.
This
They're gonna
year.
Put a new culvert in, try to correct that.
Yeah, okay, good. That's gonna be mighty convenient for driving the road, ain't it?
It's gonna be closed.
So maybe
Yeah.
they can fix that one.
I know, that's my
So why
route to
can't they
work,
kill
so,
2 birds in 1 stone?
well, I'm not sure why not. So that means that somebody has to figure out who the right one is at the state to call to find
Find
out.
out.
Figure out who to talk to and talk to them and say, this is a serious problem, what can we do? And while the state can repair their own road, it's not a culvert situation there. I don't think. I mean, maybe the state can do enough work at the other side of their road. I don't know. Maybe they need, or at least maybe they could send their engineers over. But in any case, I'm thinking that we don't necessarily have to make a decision on it tonight, although sooner is probably better than later, because we're bound to have another thunderstorm or downpour, and there goes the road again. So I think that, one way or another, we have to, we're gonna have to take this up, and I think that they're gonna have to get a letter. I'm thinking they're gonna have to get a scolding letter from the select board saying that, you have got to fix this, however, 50% matches are available. I'm willing to talk with Jeff about it. I think I emailed him about it, and I don't think I've heard back. He might just be busy, but I can check with Jeff to find out what the correct order of operations is for applying for one of these grants to help mitigate problems with the lake. But if that's not, if that's not a problem, I just don't know what is.
You talk to Jeff, a possible solution might be, the Lake Association might be able to kick in some money or something.
It's entirely possible, because,
Because it is a major problem.
and it's not gonna be cheap.
I think it could be cheap. I think we could do some water bars there.
I think you need to make some water turn out so they can go out and like settle out before it works down to the road, because
Yes,
just turning it off to the side of the road when it's still come down to the lake, it needs some like little sediment ponds to like settle out,
yes.
and then it don't all come down.
I
at
mean,
once.
really, it needs, I mean, a water bar or two wouldn't hurt, but it needs more than that. It needs water bars and swales and the whole 9 yards, if not a detention pond or something. I mean, it's a pretty bad problem that's been going on for a long time. Set a reminder to call Jeff Stern tomorrow. There we go. Well, okay, so there is one, or road report A is okay, and then there's the Adcog winter salt bid results. In here somewhere. Salt bid results. You intend to participate in this joint purchase, please let us know via return email to Avcog by June 21st. Yahoo! You must also establish an account with Morton Salt by July 31st to participate.
It's so funny, this is molten salt, because when you think of that, you think of it salt.
Mm.
Well, they're in the salt biz. Okay, so, damn. Bim, do you remember what we were paying for salt last year?
$65, around 66.
I thought it was
It might have been 63.
Well, they want $88.27 this year.
Mhm.
Delivered before December 15th.
Yeah.
I don't know, Eastern Salt's been awful good to us about delivery right on time. We've had it the last few years.
Eastern salt's what we've been having. On the other hand, they're
93.
$93. My God, that's pricey enough. We're so close to the South region, it just kind of pisses me off, but it is what it is, and we're not going to change that. Oh, well, so given how much salt we actually use, I mean, this is a per ton price, is that correct?
Imagine.
Yeah, that's what I think so. Well, pardon?
the same last year, isn't it?
It was roughly 70,000.
Yeah, it's, that's enough of a jump so that it's got to take a bite out of the budget.
At 70,000, we were able to buy around 1,100 tons of salt, 1,100 or 1,200 at the old price, so.
It's a lot of tons of salt.
That's down to under 800. That's down to under 800.
I got 300 buildings.
Well, that's handy.
I had almost 20,000 left on winter sand that I didn't use, so I bought salt, put it in the building.
Good plan.
And we have about at least 300 ton in the building. So
Well, it's a start,
Just take
but
what we're asking a 7-day and try to make it work.
try and
It worked out.
try and be a little bit stingy.
It worked out a little bit better, put a little more salt, a little less sand than what it did.
Well, I know. On the other hand,
Hopefully this year it gets stalled, that would be great.
oh man, well, you're not the only one who'd rather see
You have
snow.
to make a decision tonight of who you.
Well, I guess I would say the answer to that is probably yes, although if you look down the agenda, you'll see down under appointments, special board meeting. We are going to schedule a special board meeting so that we can make certain appointments before the first of the year, town clerk in particular, because we don't want to have to be closed until after after the first meeting of the year.
Northern region or the southern region?
We are in the northern region. And we may have done well with Eastern Salt before now, but yeah. Well, there you go. And that's why Morton Salt on this sheet is in bold.
Mhm.
Avco is not in here, though, is it?
And this is Avcog, this whole salt bid thing, they aggregate a bunch of towns and they go out to bid with all of these different
Yeah, all right,
outfits.
yeah.
And they get the best deal they can because they've got a whole bunch of towns together and it represents a large purchase.
And you had to commit to them anyway, when they put it out a bid, so I think you're already
Hmm.
committed to them.
I think we have to let them know if we're in or not, right off. And the state oftentimes throws it out to us at about the same time, like we've got this, you can go in with a deal with the state, and it's always been in our best interest to stick with AvCog.
Yeah, that's, you've already
So
done
that's
that.
in July 31st, we're gonna schedule a deficit account in Molten Salt.
Right.
No, I mean, Morton Salt West, which obviously have, I think you have no choice.
I don't see us
And I'm
having a whole
sure
lot of
that-
choice.
I'm sure that on and delivered,
Well,
I mean,
I imagine.
I'd like to assume so.
We'll find out.
Yes, we will.
They probably have all the same trucks.
All the same
Yeah.
drivers are just trucking from the,
Whoever's contracts is-
and on top of that, it's liable to all come off the same salt ship. I can tell you now, when I used to work on an oil tanker, actually it's gasoline, guys that I used to work. You remember that Sunoco, you could see the gas and it was kind of blue color, you knew it was Sunoco gas. There was guys that would come on with a bottle of dye and they'd dump it in the tank. It was the same schmutz as the other stuff. They just dumped that in the tank to make it look like it was Sunoco
Mhm.
gas.
We're also gonna let AvCog know by June 21st.
I recognize that, which is why I want to make this decision
Then,
now,
yeah, you better make it
because
tonight, yeah.
we won't have an opportunity to have another meeting for that deadline.
Well, you gotta go with it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't see that we're, I mean, it's nice to feel like we have a choice, but frankly, I don't feel like we have a choice. I move we go with the AvCog salt bid for Morton Salt for $88.27
Yeah.
No, I second it.
for a ton. All in favor?
Mhm.
Okay, moving right along.
Like I said. I can tell you how
With
you
the
do
price
on
of-
the Perry Road
You
there.
read this one.
Yeah, great, thank you for that.
I said, I can tell them how good you're doing on the Perry Road. I went back to you, gotta keep it up. So,
Well, when you
yeah, well,
took out a while,
yes, it's nice. when
Well,
they're
the
nice
people
and
who live on the
wide.
Perry Road are gonna be mighty happy.
what did you say, Leanne?
Do you want to keep that sheet?
No, I don't have to keep that, but I will.
Nice and wide, man. So that's the telephone pole.
Oh, you gotta wait for them to move it,
Yes,
so
whenever they decide to move it.
that's right,
CUP.
that's just about right.
It was looking nice back when we came back through.
Yes, I saw that. Okay, yeah, that is actually, thank you for that. We also have one other thing that wasn't on the road report, but we have a request to replace the the children sign, the children at play signs on the Berry Road.
Right.
And evidently they requested before, but
In Hidden Drive.
yeah, children at play in Hidden Drive.
Hidden Drive.
Yes. I wasn't there when they were taken down. I don't really remember them, to be honest with you. But
It used to be some of the old dumpster walls.
yes, yes, and that's who's requesting. So, but in any case, it does seem like, I mean, I don't know that children at play and Hidden Drive is going to actually slow people down any, but there you go. There is a request for those signs. I don't know if signs are all ordered for this year or.
I think we went over budget on signs, didn't we, this year?
Well, then maybe it's got to come out of
We
next
may
year's
have,
sign budget.
I think we have some children. ones.
Oh, shoot, here, I haven't signed these.
We
Great.
have to make a list of. signs to-
We need to sign that. There you go, this one too. Okay, well, anyways, signs that would have to be, you know, I don't know if anybody wants to contact her and say they would come out of next year's budget, so it would be, you know, be a bit of a wait,
When
but,
you change, you don't have money for what?
she said that we were already over budget in the sign department.
Okay, well, you think, well, on some road money, we buy a couple.
Well, you know, if you have enough money left for the, I mean, we haven't got much more of the rest of this year to,
I think
Play
we'd
with,
be able
so.
to handle a couple of $30 songs.
seems so, seems so. Okay, great. Well, by all means, I'm sure if you looked around, you'd find there's quite a few other signs that need to be taken care of as well. Street signs and the like, I don't know. But in any case, CEO report. We do not have a CEO report at this time, other than what I told you that he said about that Pinewood Drive. I know that took place, but. And a CEO report. That's always good news. And planning board report. We did have a planning board minutes in here. Thank you very much. From June 6th. And so, yeah, LD 2003 was signed into law mandating changes to the town zoning ordinances, but I'm not sure where that's really at, because I know that when that came up, they made some changes in it before it actually passed. So and frankly, I haven't been paying close enough attention to know what that looks like. The idea was to allow towns to include more housing on a lot, a given lot. But I'm not sure if we actually have to change ordinance, change zoning or what. Seems to me if the state is going to mandate us doing something like that, they'll be sure to let us know. Generally speaking. Ordinance committee, I would imagine that they wouldn't be doing much of anything until the first part of the year. And when we get to our first meeting of the upcoming year, we can be thinking ahead and plan to give them their marching orders for the upcoming year. We need at least one ordinance committee member. Since one of our ordinance committee members is pretty much hereby quit. It
Who quit?
was bound to happen.
So,
Oh, right.
I
Right.
know you knew that.
Get me a good one.
Yeah, there you go. Fire warden report, anything?
No,
I saw him the other day and he looks better.
yeah. I have some information on fireworks, but you want to talk about it at appointments and resignations or?
Yeah, we can wait. And treasury report. Bank reconciliation. Take a look at that, Kathy, while you're looking at them. You know.
I have been working with R.H.R. Smith,
Yes,
the auditors. They've done all the testing for the current year audit. And we're gonna finish it up
great.
second week in August.
Now, are you still doing everything remotely?
She might come out for one day. It's been remote so far. Seeing anything.
Did you put your signature on that?
Yeah,
Peer
maybe.
review by there you go. You just need to put your initials. There you go. Hmm. Wow, you get some whopping outstanding checks there. Taking off.
Yeah. See you.
Talk to you later.
Some busy days. Yeah, Rusty, he's hard to miss. Shot, retiring, right, yeah. So he's a lot. He's a lot like my Dinah. Wicked friendly.
Mhm.
Pass on. Maybe friendly to a fault sometimes. But he's a good boy.
Is that Dick?
Who all is on Zoom tonight?
Chad, Lenny, Richard, Ramsey was on there, but she disappeared. Maybe she's on her way here.
Oh, that's not a big crowd. Some of the usual suspects. All right, so calendar reminders, town meeting is this Saturday, June 18th at 9 a.m. You better be there, Sue, because that's where you get sworn in.
Okay, I'll be there.
I figured you probably would.
I wish
And the
I
Hartford,
didn't. But I still gotta be there.
Hartford Heritage Society yard sale is on June 21st. That's actually coming right up too, isn't it? Unfinished business. One, preparation for town meeting. What do you got to tell us?
Have you got the chairs on it?
So I talked to Scott Cole today,
Uh-huh.
found it. He said it would be probably here. If the town meeting must be the place to, we plan to thank the retiring.
Yeah, to take a minute to thank folks, yeah.
He said, and it seems that the oaths of office, send off recognitions and whatnot, American Spirit Award ought to be done in the very beginning of the Saturday morning.
I would say so. Yeah.
We did it before, yeah.
He's concerned that they take away time from the business at hand, but
Well, we're just gonna have to be quick about
Takes
it.
a few minutes.
so
Maybe you did it 10, 15 minutes early and do all that stuff.
People aren't gonna be here until, people aren't gonna show up until now.
So
I meant for those who walked in.
do you want Scott to say a few words, or do one of you?
Uh,
I mean, I wrote, don't look at these. I was just trying to write something. Some points.
yeah, I mean, it seems like somebody local ought to say something rather than Scott, who doesn't know any of these individuals. And Kathy loves getting up in front of everybody. No, I could handle it.
Say Lenny over there.
I could handle it. Yeah.
Do you think of something that you say?
Oh, you already wrote it.
You already wrote it.
Better have that. There you go. What the heck, be ready for town meeting at that point anyway, so it's all good. Right. Is there anything else we need to
Do
to
you
get
need
ready?
anything? I mean, are you gonna bring your budget books, or is the warrant enough, or anything I can get?
I will plan to bring my budget book with
Yeah,
me.
me too.
Bringing your budget books is a
Yep.
good idea.
Well, okay, I'll just look at it besides the book itself.
Oftentimes you won't get with just the town report.
Yep.
You have yet to receive my town report in the mail.
Mine just came today.
Oh, I probably mail yours, it's probably in your.
Oh,
You
Why
got
would I,
one?
why would I mail
Get
yours?
you one?
well, because you needed a full 500. But the thing about the post office is they don't deliver every day anymore. Lots of days I won't have anything. There was something in the box today, but I go in the box and
Oh, it's awful. People won't get them until.
Mine came in today to Turner.
good. That's good to hear. Well, I just figured I was gonna get one in the mail, so I haven't.
Mail's bad. Pony Express is quicker, I think.
Yeah, it didn't used to be like that, but in any case, okay, so open session. Does anybody have anything for open session?
I do. This
Uh,
is Lenny.
Yeah, well, yeah, I heard that, Lenny, but somebody who's in the room has actually spoke up ahead of you, so if you'll. hold
That's
up-
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who's in the room. Who is in the room?
EMP.
Oh,
In the past, I've
Sure
had
thing.
Dave Bowen and Sue.
Very good.
power on a lot.
and Bim was here, but he left. Yeah. Here you go.
Form 11-9.
All set.
Thanks.
Oh, Form 11.
That's it. 1190 would be really close to here.
It's
Kind of what I was thinking. Lenny, you had something for open session?
Yes. I was talking with some people and I won't mention their names because they're not here. And so I don't want to speak for them, but I had a concern, as did a few other people, that on bulky waste pickup, piles became huge overnight.
Mm.
And it seems to be a pattern at certain residences. And also, there were people driving around taking all the metal.
Yeah.
And if I understand correctly, we would get some credit for metal.
You are incorrect in that.
Oh, okay. Well, Bim was going to talk about this, but him I'm willing to mention. That was his impression, that we got some kind of
No.
benefit.
No, the only thing we get from metal is avoided cost, because we're not charged for the tipping of metals, because our waste hauler can reap some benefit from that.
Oh, okay. That would be
It's
where the
really only
impression
avoided
came from
cost.
then.
It's really only avoided cost. And yes, there were a lot more people scrounging around people's piles this year. And I would have to say that that has to do with the state of the economy.
Probably.
Or people's personal economies. But the town is actually not harmed in the least when people take things away.
Oh, good.
Assuming that they take them out of town, you know, it's all to our benefit, in fact.
Awesome.
So,
Do we have any figures whatsoever yet?
no.
Don't get them for
No.
weeks.
No, it won't be quite a while before we get that, but I'm hoping that once we start our new fiscal year, one of our orders of business is going to be to find people who want to sit on the waste committee and actually revive that. We have 2 people on the waste committee at this time, but our waste committee is basically devoid of people and has been for a decade now, anyway. I mean,
Okay.
it's kind of a defunct committee, but you know, it hasn't become less of a concern. We talk trash an awful lot, and frankly, I'd like to try and get a few people who really care about waste and the environment to step up and help us think well about these problems, because
Yes.
it's a perennial problem.
I would like
Ever
to
since we
think
went to
that
put
our
trash
very
off the road.
I would like to think that our very successful Buy Nothing days helped make a dent. So I'm very curious.
You know, they were very successful. We know that much. Other than that, I don't know. How much money did we make in the end from the Buy Nothing Day?
$157.
Okay, and Susan, do I recall you saying that you would apply to the Walmart Foundation to double that money?
Yeah, that's what I can do.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to ask you two to get together on that and see if you can make it happen, because that would be a significant amount that we could put towards not only repairs, but also supplies for our little food trailer, a resource trailer.
The money continues to sit in my dryer.
Well, thanks for telling the whole world about it. You might consider moving it to somewhere else now, but
I'm lying. I spent it. I'm going to write a check.
oh, there you go, whatever. In any case, yeah, you two get together on that and see what you can do, because that would be a significant chunk of change, and that would be great. And I would love to see that become not an inaugural event, but an annual event, because I thought it was really successful.
Absolutely. Not only was it successful, it was fun.
And Lenny, Sue was trying to talk to you about something here.
Your posts on Facebook generating a lot of, I mean, everything looks so nice in the pictures. It really generated a lot of interest. I thought that
Yeah.
it built a following, so.
Yeah, there you go. Well, what I noticed about that whole thing was that there was a huge pent up demand in this town for a place to bring things that are too good for the trash. But they don't want to go all the way to Goodwill or something like that. There was huge pent up demand. I mean, you know, we had Friday night, I was here from I was here from 2 o'clock on, and so many people were just coming out of the woodworks to bring stuff. And a lot of people just showed up and volunteered too. So it went, I guess I'd have to say it went swimmingly.
The other night,
Thanks for your efforts on that, Lenny.
You're welcome. One other quick thing.
Yes.
Where will the minutes from the hearings be available?
Where,
When?
when?
I'm going to assume that they'll be on the website.
Okay. when will they be available?
Tomorrow or Saturday, maybe.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Remember?
Yeah, Saturday, I mean, honest to God, I mean, but with getting ready for town meeting and all, it's easy for things to get a little bit delayed right in this crunch time, but I'm sure as soon as possible.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else have something for open session?
Yes. Hello.
I hear you.
I just wanted to mention that the fact that Buckfield and Sumner may have voted against the new school does not mean it won't be built.
No,
I'm
of
sure
course
that-
not. It passed overall.
That's correct. Rumford in Mexico, I'm sure will have voted in favor of it.
No, what Jerry Wiley told me yesterday was that both the budget and the new building passed. But
Right.
and Buckfield voted against. Just
Right, and
it's just a kind of a way of letting you know where they're at.
yeah, and I want to let Leanne know that I don't like the camera setup as well as I did the last meeting.
What was it set up the last meeting?
I don't know, what's the matter?
Leanne knows what I'm saying.
I don't know what
I think he wants,
Oh,
chances are he wants the camera to be facing you.
Oh, that's right, you're never on camera. That's right, you're never. on
In any
camera.
case, let's moving right along then. Okay, new business. We have several new business items. One is swim lesson season passes. I've never actually heard it called season passes before, but I know what you're talking about.
Guest season.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I've got an issue with that. I was happy to see it on the agenda.
Yes.
Why has it been a practice that people from out of town get a sticker to use Hartford's Beach if we sign up for swim lessons?
This was actually recommended a few years back by the Recreation Committee, who actually set up and run the swim lessons. And the reason was because, frankly, we've had a constable, but we haven't had a lot of oversight of the town beach, and having families down there with their kids who are practicing from their lessons has improved the general tenor of the beach immensely. I mean, there's a lot fewer people with their dogs and their bottles and bags and I don't want to say riffraff, but whatever, people from, because people come from, frankly, all over. And these people are these people that we know that are families who are the swim lesson families. And it has improved I say tenor, has improved the society of Hartford Beach.
So over the last year, I've seen several posts where people would say, where is a local beach we can go to?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Then people make comments, oh, just sign your kids up for
Swimming lessons.
swimming lessons and you can get a pass to go for the year. Well, I don't have kids. Well, just sign them up anyway and you can get a pass.
Just sign
What's
them
wrong?
up. Well, that's,
Yeah.
that's,
And
and do you have any
frankly,
sense that that's happening?
well, it's.
The
Without a
people,
doubt,
the
I
people
bet.
without kids, yeah, but Facebook is
Well,
Facebook,
And
right?
my point is, it can't happen anyway, because in the settlement agreement from Patton, that beach was given to this town.
For the residents and their guests, and how we have, I've been the person who made the motion in pretty much every case when I have said, I move that we consider the families of the swim lesson kids and their families to be the guests of the select board.
But
doing
to
that.
be a guest, you should be with a resident. So my suggestion is, anyone from out of town, you give them a pass to be there on the days of the swim lessons, put in their car. There's no reason for them to be on the town beach all summer long. It's our tax dollars that go to maintain the roads to the beach, the porta potty, parking area, the boardwalk. They don't contribute anything. Does it cost anything for a swim lesson?
Absolutely.
Okay, and where does that money go?
And that is that is what pays for the porta potty. That has been what pays for fixing the boardwalk and having trees cut that were leaning over the boardwalk, and for you know, all of the various maintenance things that have been done. That goes to the rec committee, which is an unofficial committee. It's not actually, you know, sanctioned by the town, but the rec committee is. And they use the swim lesson money to do that, and also to do things that contribute to the ongoing slow as cold molasses repair of the railroad bed and so forth, and other things that they do.
So.
Excuse me, could I say something?
Yeah, you may.
I'm a 1-year member of the Recreation Committee, so I'm a trainee. The ladies who have been there for 30 years or more and doing all this on their own, that is a very precious concept to them, that swim lessons attract families, they contribute financially, and as you said, Lee, having families at the beach is only an advantage.
Hartford families.
I thought
agree with him when
the
he's saying they
instructors
should
were
only
so
be there
expensive.
during
Yeah, well, one person at a time, please.
People will say what they will say on Facebook. I saw all this discussion, you know, just, you can get a pass to the beach, and, you know, I gave them accurate information. You gave them accurate information, Lee. You know, it's just not going to happen. Elizabeth and Ramsey have been keeping track of the families, and they do not just hand out passes to random people. It's only the people who come and participate in swim lessons, which happen the week of July 4th and the week after. So there's a few weeks left of summer after that, and those kids get to practice their skills from swim lessons as a reward for having paid to come and have swim lessons and support the program and support efforts that the Recreation Committee puts into the railroad bed and the beach. And that's all I have to say.
Mhm. Leanne, you had something to say?
I think I remember Elizabeth saying, or Ramsey, that the money they take in doesn't even cover the instructors.
Just barely.
So how does the money go?
I mean, I don't, you know, something, I would have to be looking at their balance sheet to be able to say. I think that, you know, it's fairly close to a wash, but at least some of the money they take in, you know, because the town doesn't give them that much money.
Well, we might give them 5,000 for the beach, that town meeting.
Well, there's that, but that's not actually going to the recreation committee. It is to upgrade access to the beach. Yeah. Yes.
So regardless of money or whatever, I still don't think the town has the right to allow this since they're not residents, because it's part of the agreement was
I remember the agreement
specifically for Hartford residents
and their guests.
and their guests.
I think the last time this was discussed with the rec committee, we were gonna look into contacting Patton to redo that agreement, but.
There
we
was
didn't
some,
know if they
there
even
was some
existed.
talk about that, but I don't believe that has happened.
Do they still?
There was talk about what? I couldn't hear Leanne.
Contacting the Patton Corporation or what's left of it.
And,
I think legal services said that would be the only way to allow out of towners to use the beach, is to change that agreement.
Well, not if they're the guests of the
I don't
select
think
board.
I don't think there's anybody in Hartford who wants to see just like it be an open beach to anybody from anywhere. On the other hand, if it's practically abandoned, that's when folks from God knows where show up and do what they will with their dogs and their bottles and bags and the like. So,
You think it's abandoned?
when there's, it's completely empty, that's when, folks from anywhere could show up, but if there's a whole bunch of families there, then it's, it's kind of a friendly and family-oriented place. So, my feeling has been that in fact, doing that has improved the scene at the beach quite a bit.
I don't see how it goes against the contract or the deed or whatever if they're considered guests. It says for Hartford residents and guests. All three of you are Hartford residents. All three of us on the rec committee are Hartford residents, and the swimmers are our guests.
So you're gonna accompany every. out of
Time.
state,
Well,
out of
but
town?
what part of the consent agreement says the guests have to be attended
I'll be
at all
happy to
times?
if that's what you want.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So can people who rent the Airbnbs give guest passes to their residents, to their renters?
That's something that has yet to be considered, but if, for instance, somebody who
question.
has a place on the lake has company come for a little bit, they can get a guest pass so that their friends who are staying with them can go and use the beach. Right?
By themselves?
How did this become a big issue?
It's always been an issue.
I've never heard of it before, that it's a problem to have the swimmers.
We've been round and round and round with it, as a matter of fact.
Huh.
Just maybe when you were not, maybe when you were not paying attention. I mean, you've been watching for quite a while. But, it's a perennial problem and has been ever since the Grove was closed. I don't know what to say. It seems to me that we probably need to have a little more research and a little more discussion on the subject.
Well, I think once the swimming lessons are over, then the guests are no longer allowed.
What did Laurie say?
Well, I don't know. She
I agreed with
kind of
Dave.
talked to Doris. She kind of talked to
agreed with Dave?
Hands.
Yeah, I agree with Dave. They can have the guests while they're doing the swimming lessons, but once the swimming lessons are over with, then they shouldn't be allowed out on the beach if they're out of the towners.
Well, among other things, I feel like Lenny has spoken representing the rec committee, but I guess I feel like because other members of the rec committee aren't able to be present, I guess I don't really feel like.
Swimming lessons begin July 1st
Fourth,
or 4th, so that's before your next meeting.
yeah, it is before our next meeting. Nonetheless, I feel like we should, pardon me, I feel like we should plan to discuss this. I feel we shouldn't be discussing this and planning to make a decision with none of the, all two of them, rec committee members present.
Either that or have just certain times they can go back and have someone from the rec committee or somebody present so they'll know them of the swimming lesson.
So you're saying
People.
that if swim lesson peoples want to be there, they need to go with a member of the rec committee? Is that what you're saying?
They'll have certain hours that they have to.
Or
They
they
wanna
can just
go
go to the
swim.
front side of the lake where anyone can go.
Well, I guess I would have to say that I think that obviously this needs to be discussed further, but like I said, I'm not comfortable making a decision on this with no rec committee members present other than Lenny, who's here on Zoom.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I mean, we've heard from Lori. We see how she thinks about it. But, you know, just like, feel like to, you know, this is, it's a significant issue, and I feel like making a decision on something that is a hot button issue without all the stakeholders present is not in the best interest of anybody.
Yep, okay.
But I hear what you're saying. Absolutely. I hear what Lori is saying. And what's more, I don't have all that much time to spend on Facebook, but I've also seen a lot of that discussion too.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
But, you know, but in the same way, people will say, oh yeah, just sign up for swim lessons. You don't have to have kids, just sign them up for swim lessons and never show up. Can say stuff like that in the same way that somebody can say something like, hey, why not bring it to Hartford, you know, because they'll just pick up your trash anyway. I mean, people can say stuff like that. Does that make it right? Does that make it okay? Does that mean that it is, you know, it is advice worth following? I mean, anyone who wants to follow all the advice they find on Facebook, I guess I'd have to say that they might want to think twice.
But if it's out there, it might be.
People could not sign up for swim lessons and not go and get a guest pass. That could not happen.
Yeah,
Or they can,
It's set up better than that.
Oh, what?
they give them like the first lesson, they could go to one lesson, then also.
Yeah.
So where do you go from here?
well, it's a good question, you know, do we put it off until the first actual select board meeting of the year? We do have to make appointments before the first of the year. That would be another whole meeting. I guess it depends on when we schedule that. Could we schedule beach stakeholders to show up at that time? I don't know. You know, I mean, we've only got so much time and no more to have that meeting, but it just, as long as it happened before June 30th, right?
For appointments, yes.
For appointments, that's what I'm talking about, because that would be the main agenda item. Should we plan to discuss this further at that meeting, since we know that then we will be having another meeting before July 1st? Does that make better sense? And then, you know, of course, when are we going to schedule it for? Will we schedule the evening meeting? I guess I'm going to say that that's what's going to make sense for me, because I'm working most days.
Yeah, what?
Working most days.
Next meeting is when?
July something.
The next actual meeting is July 7th, but we will have a special meeting in between in order to make some appointments.
June 30th is a Thursday. Should I choose to be on Thursdays?
You know, sort of just, I was just opening my calendar to see. Yeah, and that would give us more than enough time for legal notice.
Well, someone's gotta give me my oath of office,
Correct.
and Barbara only works Wednesday.
Okay, so let's do it before that. Let's do it before that.
Wednesday night, or without.
You say, are you suggesting the 22nd?
Oh, no,
or the 29th?
It would have to be Tuesday night. Get my oath done on Wednesday.
Okay, so if we're talking about a Tuesday, then we'd be talking about the 21st, which is actually pretty soon, or the 28th. You know, and I can do an evening meeting on Tuesday.
Doesn't matter to me.
Well, the 21st would be less than a week, and if it's not an emergency meeting, we need a full week of public notice in order to have a meeting.
So 28th.
Yeah, there are three kinds of select board meetings. There are regular select board meetings. There are special select board meetings, such as this one we're scheduling right now. And then there are emergency meetings. And emergency meetings can take place with less than a week of public notice. You're supposed to be able to give people a week of public notice for your special meetings. If it's an emergency, well, emergencies are emergencies. You could have an emergency meeting the next day if you absolutely had to. You still need to give notice. But, you know, just in case people want to be present, you need to give notice if it's a special. So I guess I guess we're looking at the 28th then, are we?
Okay,
I think that's right. I don't see something else scheduled for them. And then I'm
Would
supposed-
that be at 7?
I'm gonna say 7 sounds right to me.
Okay, thank you.
This time of year that we still have at least another couple hours of daylight. So, yeah, I think that's correct.
So this is for appointments and the beach?
And to discuss swim lesson passes or swim lesson guest status. Or, yeah, guest status is, I guess, right? Oh, okay. So moving right along in new business, number 2 is maintenance position. And constable position.
and fire one.
That too,
Mhm.
okay. And
Does one person do both those right now?
one person has done all 3 of those currently.
Oh,
Sorry. One person has done a maintenance position and fire warden. And the constable is a different person, but our constable gave us notice some time ago. It was actually during budget hearings that he wasn't going to be able to continue. He's done it for 19 years now.
There's 2 people I know of that's interested.
I know of one person who might be interested as well. So I guess I'm going to suggest that, well, so we're talking about maintenance and fire warden first. Because we have not accepted a resignation. I understand that we have resignation from the person who was doing.
You're not
Those
gonna
two
hire someone
jobs.
right now, are you?
We're not going to hire somebody right now. We're not going to hire somebody right this minute, but I think that the maintenance position, when we've hired before, we don't just scrounge around for somebody we think would be good at it. We put it out as an ad, looking for somebody for the maintenance position. I know you suggested somebody you thought would be terrific for the job, the maintenance job. You know, I would like to see somebody who's kind of a go-getter. Somebody who actually really wants to keep things up. You know, and of course, the maintenance position is no joke because in fact, it also includes keeping snow off this ramp where the roof dumps snow on the ramp all the time, and then clearing the front steps in the wintertime and shoveling out around the, yeah. So we actually do have a snow blower that allows anybody to use that, but there's still some shoveling to be done, and yeah. So it's kind of a big job and kind of a random job. You know, it's certainly not full-time by a long shot. But in any case, I think we have to advertise that. And meanwhile, I think that if you know people who would be good at that, it'd be a great idea to let them know.
Do you want to put that in the paper?
You know, I think an ad in the paper,
Or social media?
you know, social media is a lot less expensive.
Huh?
You know,
What's that?
social media is a lot less expensive, I said.
See 'em around the paper.
Dave just started.
Returns.
What's that?
We don't do any more help wanted in the newspaper. No response.
Nobody's looking at it anymore.
So do you want anything special in the social media? advertising?
Well, you know something, I think that something needs to be written up, and I think I would take the job description. Go to the job description, which we've got it
You want me to
listed.
mention wages, because we budgeted $15 an hour,
You know, let's see who's interested in, you know,
we'll just say part-time.
yeah, just say part-time. And let people, you know, if somebody's, you know, if somebody's, you know, hoping to get rich on it, they're not gonna want this particular job. Because it may be $15 an hour, but it's not that many hours. Right?
Doing fire warden too, or?
No, because fire warden is elected at town meeting.
and fire warden's
No.
elected at town
Okay.
meeting, so
And
that's a separate
That's right.
subject.
And town meeting is Saturday.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Well-
I called Art LeBoy
LaVoy, yes.
Yeah.
I
get
know.
hold of him.
to see if you could appoint one if we didn't have anyone who was running.
Yes,
And he said it's okay for you to appoint one if it's vacant.
I think that that may be how we have to go.
He suggested contacting Wally Litchfield from Sumner or Canton Fire Department, which I already left him a message trying to get the kid down.
And trying to get them to be our fire warden,
Mhm. And you do not have to be a resident.
pardon?
We pay them.
God only knows.
Yeah,
And he did mention the online fire permit service.
Right.
And it only
Right,
has certain hours that you can burn, but he said the town of Hartford could always ask them to change those hours. Because right now, I think it says after 5, unless it's steady rain or snow.
yeah,
on the
well,
ground.
you know what, fair enough. There's a reason for that, and a damn good reason for that, because if you start your fire in the morning and it gets going in good shape, everybody who's on a all of these fire departments are volunteer, and all of their firefighters that are worth their salt are probably out of town working, because most people don't work in town. So if you start your fire in the middle of the day and it gets out of hand, there's no volunteer firefighters to show up. I think that's the main reason why the hours are late in the day. Also, when the fire is going at night, you can definitely see the sparks fly and things are less likely to get out of control. It's not always that the wind dies at dusk, but a lot of times, even on a breezy day, the wind dies at dusk.
So I don't know if you guys want to contact the other towns or. See if they can-
Jason Vaughn.
I did leave a message because there's a volunteer firefighter for the town, for Canton Fire Department, bought a house in Hartford. They haven't called me back yet.
You know who else is a volunteer, I think, for Canton is, begins with a T, they're on the hill, just as you're going up on. Town
Staples
Farm.
Hill?
No, Town Farm Road,
Oh,
big family. Left-hand side going up the hill,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
begins with a T.
Yeah.
And there's an old elderly couple across the street with the same last name, they're not related. I can't even think, make it begins with a T. And when you say it, I'll say, right, of course. But in any case, there are kids at that family who are also volunteer firefighters for Canton.
Well, I'm sure they'll call back. They
Yeah.
left a message.
Yeah, so, great. Well, maybe we can find somebody, they'll call back and they'll have somebody who's actually in town that they would recommend. It seems like it would be good to have someone in town because if, as needed.
The thing about Jason or one of the other fire departments, they know what's going on. So if they issue a permit in Hartford, and someone calls and they're like, oh, it's.
Oh, yeah, we gave a permit. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
talked to Jason about that in the past, so that's just.
Yeah,
my
there you go.
opinion, but
Well, so he's Jason Vaughn.
mhm.
I gotta.
That would be great.
Is there a fee that people pay when they get a fire permit?
It's been free. It's free in town, online. I think it's,
Oh, it is that?
is it free online now? Because it used to be $7, I thought. Well, it used to be, in any case. That's all good. So Jason is,
I'll let you. I
oh,
don't
there
want
you
to
go.
distribute it to everyone. For the text, so I can see it.
I see that. So even you don't have, okay, add number, create new contact, JASN,
Gotcha.
VAUGHAN. I'm very happy to see how that's spelled because I know it was going to spell wrong.
That's
Great,
that.
got it. Thank you so much. Okay, so fire warden, so we've discussed maintenance position and fire warden, which was technically not on the agenda, but we needed to deal with it.
Yep.
And now we have the constable position, which is another position that I think we should probably list. And social media is probably our best bet for that. I mean, if it was something, you know, it was something closer to full-time, or if it was something closer to, I would say, a real job, then I think I would suggest that we call the job service, because they list, they cross-post things to Indeed and so forth, but this is not what most folks would consider a real job. This is just a part-time kind of a job too.
So
I know at least
mention-
one person who I think is interested in constable. Did you say you knew somebody interested in constable?
Yep.
Okay, well, I think we should post it on social media like it were, so it were a real job. The town of Hartford is hiring a constable, and the duties include in the job description. I think, no?
There's probably a lot, but do you usually advertise for that position?
I don't know that we ever have before.
Did you advertise for ACO and CEO? Yeah,
Well, you know,
I think we
because
did,
see,
didn't we?
did we advertise for ACO?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Our most recent ACO was the
Ozzy.
understudy of Ozzy Hart. And
Yes.
Ozzy Hart, he
Give
came
us-
to us recommended,
Yes,
and
right.
the guy before that was Ranger Rick.
Yep.
That's
And
what I-
Clarence.
That's what I called him, and there was Clarence before that. I don't know, I mean, have we always just sort of like scrounged around and found somebody? Is it not perhaps better and a little more above board to put it out there? Because, man, there's a lot of new people in town. I mean, how are we gonna necessarily know who's out there that might actually be terrific for the job?
So you want resumes and
You know, I'd like to have something along the line, but I'd like to know what makes them think they would make a good constable.
when do you want them back by? Or
Last,
maintenance?
last week. Well, realistically, I mean, come on, Kathy, think about it, you know, I mean, our constable is gonna be done by, yeah, so, yeah, probably by the end of June.
So June 30th, resumes, references, all that.
I would, you
For
know,
maintenance
I would
plans.
think that anybody would want, certainly for constable, you'd want references. I mean, I don't know, what do you think, Dave? If you were hiring the constable, what would you do? Wouldn't you want references or some kind of resume to know where they,
Not necessarily a resume, because some people don't,
yeah, I mean, resume is asking a lot.
but, you know, at least fill out an application. and
Yeah,
put some
I mean,
references.
you want to have some kind of a CV, you know,
With their experiences.
It's not like a
Yeah.
deputy's position.
Like a what?
It's not like it's a deputy's position.
Right.
like a sheriff's deputy. No, no, it's not. And yet, you know, when we hired Chuck for the job, part of the reason we hired Chuck for the job, he was kind of new to town, but he'd been a policeman, he was a retired policeman, he'd been a policeman for years. He was very good at confronting people as needed without getting ugly, or, but he could be firm.
Situation, yeah.
He's very good at situation control. And we might not do that well again, but I mean, if Clarence isn't gonna be maintenance guy and fire warden anymore, he's certainly not gonna apply for it. You know, Pete Terrio was the constable in 2003. I
Do
remember
they have
that.
to be a resident of Hartford?
Not necessarily, but
Helpful.
it would be helpful if they lived nearby. I don't think we're gonna, you know, like for our current constable position, I mean, he gets a stipend. It's a stipend job. It's not really an hourly. And so, You know, it's not like we're gonna pay somebody mileage if they want to come from Paris, it'd be on them, and, you know, too many people are gonna wanna do that. Not nowadays. You know, I mean, we did put a little bit more dough in there, if I recall,
Yes,
for
the beach monitor.
beach monitor. You know, and other than that, I mean, the constable duties, other than beach monitor, are relatively few. Post,
Police presence a lot more spread. Going down the beach.
pardon me?
Police presence,
Yeah.
I've seen them come in quite a bit.
Nice.
Really?
Well,
Wow.
thank you for that. I'm happy, because I'm not down there to notice it. So that's good to know. That's good to know. You know, and I'd like to think that, you know, Chuck, if he's ever had to go down there, after dark or had to like make a direct confrontation with somebody, he's called a sheriff's deputy to go down with him. And he does the talking, but with the deputy standing behind him, it's mighty effective. In any case, so, yeah, I mean, I think we should at least throw the job out there. And let's say the one person I know who's interested in it, you know, he probably would not make the best beach monitor because I think that his ability to be there on the weekends is limited. So that is, you know, the beach part is big and yet it's very seasonal. It's over, it's over. Anyway, so moving right along. Order of municipal officials. Oh, yes, that's in here.
Well,
And
the
this,
last time the board of selectmen signed one of these was when Dave was on the board. In 1999.
Dave, there you
And it has
go.
to be done every time there's a change
Yeah.
of clerk or.
Pete
board member.
Terrio, David Bowen, and George Hinckley. Do you remember that far back, buddy? What's that? That was your first year?
That was the board.
Yeah, it was first board year.
What year
Yeah.
was that?
99.
So we're a little behind.
So in any case, you know, I did read through these, but the wording is basically the same.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the order to, say that if somebody comes in to pay on their delinquent taxes, it always goes to the oldest. Just foreclosure prevention.
So, we will have to re-sign this when Sue attends her first meeting. But since foreclosures, taxes foreclosed July 1st.
Yeah.
So I thought it was 18 months on foreclosure.
Yes.
I saw stuff in there.
Hmm.
Town report for 2016.
7. They failed to foreclose. They didn't
Yeah.
send notices.
Well, and part of it was that lien notices had not been properly filed. Yeah, this is true.
It's another reason to have a good town clerk.
That is another reason to have a good time clerk. Yes, that is, sir. I don't think anybody, there's nobody in the room who would question that.
So I don't know if we need a motion. Probably should have a motion with this.
Yes, I move that we approve the select board order as signed.
I second it.
All in favor?
Mhm.
All right. Moving right along. Special board meeting date. We already just do that?
We just did that.
I think we just did that. And if I'm
Out
remembering
of
right,
order.
it's gonna be, what's that?
Out of order, you did it.
Oh, well. That's one of the things, that's one of the great things about our meetings is that we don't have to be overly formal. We can do things as needed. And that was the 28th at 7 PM. Am I correct?
Yep.
Okay, so it starts June 28th.
Seven officially.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. and-
So I did have a resignation, a written resignation from Clarence from both of those positions, but it's in my notebook from the election. I didn't bring it over. Do you want me to go get it? Do you wanna see it?
You know, I will take your word for it.
Me too.
I will take your word for it. Because I heard about it yesterday and it sounds like Melanie's thinking well about this. And so I move that we accept the resignation from Clarence Hill with regrets. From both, well, yeah, should I do these separately? I move that we accept Clarence's resignation from the maintenance position with regret.
I second it.
All in favor? And I move that we accept Clarence Hill's resignation from the position of fire warden with regret.
And I also second it.
All in favor? There we go.
That was Algeria.
What's that?
Any appointments going on?
We have a whole special meeting for that coming up.
All right, well, you guys get correspondence, so you probably have all of this.
Right, I saw the piece from Jane Point. Pardon me? Well, when I saw the post on Facebook and everybody's congratulating her, I said, congratulations. Be careful what you wish for, you just might get it.
They had signs all over my office, and somebody had stolen one of my election signs and put it up in my office on the wall. So,
Oh, well, there you go.
got flowers. and-
I saw that.
Very nice.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. That's as nice as anybody's ever going to treat you for it. I promise. Right? Oh, one of the things I found out, I've lived in this town for 47 years and I've only been on the select board for 19 of them. And I tell you, I did not have an enemy in the world before I started this job, but boy, I'm here to tell you, on the select board, if you're not pissing somebody off, you're not, excuse me. Am I right, Dave? I'm right, yeah, there you go. And you're not gonna make everybody happy all the time. That's it.
I get complaints every day at work, it's just be like, all the time.
It's great to see you, Dave.
See ya. See ya,
Take care
Dave.
now.
Mm.
Take care of yourself.
Mm.
Do your stretches. There you go.
See you Saturday.
Okay.
Oh, I know, that's right. Yep, he is a Pine Shores resident. He sure is. Okay, so we've had our correspondence. I think we are officially adjourned, but I don't know what to do with the computer as far as shutting everything down. Thanks, everybody, well, you can't just shut it off because
No,
Leanne
you'll
wants to
leave me
record. Yeah,
first.
well, you gotta leave me, but you have, I would let Leanne do that unless Kathy knows how to make sure it gets
Yeah.
recorded. You can shut that part off. Good night, all.
Good night.
Just make sure it gets recorded because Leanne wants it on recorded.
So did you just go to end? End.